Hello and welcome to Wingin It. So we are here again. We have game 3 of our round 4 matchup against Tay in the Wingspan Open. And yeah, just before we get into the video, just want to do a little update on the channel. You might have seen recently we hit 1,000 subscribers here, which is absolutely huge milestone, and not anything I really expected to be working towards when I started this channel just over a year ago. So yeah, I just want to thank everyone who's subscribed, but also just anyone who's watched or liked, commented on, shared any of the videos. Your support is really what keeps me going. So massive thank you to anyone who has watched and subscribed to this channel. Hopefully I'll be able to keep up the standards and keep the gameplay and strategy stuff going. You might have seen recently as well, there was a bit of a streak of daily content now. Just to manage expectations, that's definitely not going to be carrying on. As you'll see, it has been a few days between the last part of this series and this new game here. I would say probably 1 or 2 videos a week is what I'm aiming towards. I did have a bit of a backlog, obviously with the Indian Skipper Skirmish finishing off, and then these best of 5 series in the Wingspan Open. There's been a lot of gameplay, so yeah, wanted to kind of get those out before slipping too far behind and having too much of a backlog to get through. But we are now caught up, so we'll resume, I think, to regular programming here. Like I say, 1 or 2 videos a week. If that's not enough for you, you can go check out my Twitch channel. I do stream on Twitch as well. Again, normally once or twice a week. Wednesday, 7 PM GMT is my usual slot. And then I do sometimes stream on the weekends or just another day as well. So yeah, if you want to go check out my Twitch page, you can follow or subscribe there as well to stay up to date with everything. And yeah, hopefully get some more gameplay content into your lives, because really, that is what we are all here for. And speaking of which, we have got another pretty good gameplay matchup here. As I said, game 3 against Tay. We have split the first 2 games, so we're tied 1-1. And yeah, this is post-commentated, so my setup wasn't set up right to do a live commentary for this one, but I wanted to get some commentary on it anyway, so that you guys have a bit more of an enjoyable experience watching this game back. So, as I said, we split the first 2 games 1-1. And so, yeah, we are going to go first here in this game 3. So, we'll get the invite sent out, and let's have a look at what we've got here in our starting hand. And it's all looking pretty good. We've got Franklin's Goal, which is absolute no-brainer. We're going to be keeping hold of that. And we've got Franklin's Goal's best friend, I think, I would say, in the Brewers Blackbird. So, very good combination there in the Grasslands. A couple of good bonus cards to choose from as well. Dart Specialist, Birdbander, both from the European expansion, both pretty safe. So, yeah, you see I'm going for a bit of a greedy start here. Going for 4 birds. We've got the Chipping Sparrow, which does meet this Birdbander alongside the Franklin's Goal and the Eastern Kingbird. So, kind of what I'm thinking here is keep those 4 birds. I keep the 1 food for the Sparrow. I can play the Sparrow, get the food to the Kingbird, also get the egg to then play the Kingbird. And then I'm just set up to basically gain food a bunch. Obviously, house rules do apply for this tournament, so the Franklin's Goal cannot be played until the start of round 2. As much as I'd love to get that down straight away and start drawing some cards, we'll have to be a little bit patient here in terms of how quickly I play that bird. So yeah, I think all in all with this first round, I've got 8 turns. Kind of just doing the sums in my head, doing the counting, checking how much food, how many turns to play birds. The plan here is definitely, as I say, get the Sparrow and the Kingbird going in the forest, get those 2 food, and of course the egg from the Sparrow. And then I can play the Blackbird this round and set myself up to just get that Franklin's Goal down immediately going into round 2. And then I'm just going to start laying eggs. You know, I get 3 eggs, I discard 1 to get 2 cards, and then I tuck 1 of those and get an egg back off the Blackbird. So it's already a 4-point engine right at the start of round 2. And it's giving me excellent card draw, of course, through that Franklin's Goal. And yeah, with the 2-bird forest going on, and of course that Kingbird with the pink power, potentially getting some extra worms. I'm definitely hopeful that, you know, this is going to be a strong setup and can set me off very nicely here at the start of this game. Alright, so here we go. We jump ahead to our first turn, and we can see that Tay potentially does not have quite as good of a starting hand there. Just keeping the 1 bird and the 4 food, so yeah, you do normally like to see that. I think you never want to see your opponent keep 4 birds, as I've done here, because that normally means they've got some good birds, as I do. indeed have here. But yeah, as I said, as part of the plan, play the chipping sparrow. And plenty of food in that bird feeder. We've got 3 worms to choose from. So we're going to go and grab one of those. And yeah, there we go. Tay playing the Merganser. So I think the case here for them is play Merganser and start digging. Obviously, that's their only bird. They've got a couple of food left over. So yeah, they'll be looking for some cheap forest options, I think. Something maybe to go in the grasslands to get some eggs or to get some food. But yeah, for them, it's all going to be on that early card draw because it's a gamble. You don't know what you're going to get. You know, you can start digging and maybe you find great birds, but maybe you don't. And then you're kind of stuck with these slightly mediocre birds to work with. But yeah, he'll certainly be hoping that he can get some good options. But of course, as I said, for us, the plan is to go for this king bird. And hopefully we can get this down now. And this is before Tay has played any forest birds. So yes, for those not familiar with the Eastern Kingbird power, every time your opponent plays a bird in the forest, you get a free worm. So of course, free worms always nice. Most versatile food, I would say, in the game, worms. And yeah, if I'm going with this Franklin's Goal setup, I'm going to be seeing lots of cards, but food maybe. I'm not going to have so much of it. So a little bit of free food every so often, whenever my opponent's playing birds, I'll definitely take it. But of course, even just in the short term here, it's getting that second forest bird down, so that now when I am taking food, I'm getting 2. So I can just really take a bunch of food here. As I said, 5 turns left. I think it's going to be take food for 4 turns and then play the blackbird. And I'm going to be set up. I'm going to have eggs from the sparrow. I'm going to have so much food. I can play the Franklin's Goal. And yeah, we can then hopefully start drawing some cards and see what we can get in that second round. But for Tay, things probably a little bit more tricky at the start, as I said. Just kind of not really sure what you're going to get from the deck. You spend a bunch of turns drawing. As I say, hopefully you find that kind of cheap forest bird and kind of go from there. So I'll just jump forward a couple of turns here. You'll see we get a pink power activation on the Kingbird, and that is because Tay has played the Cooper's Hawk. So yeah, they did a little bit of digging. As I said, in the meantime, we just continued getting the food, which is what we're going to continue doing here as well. But yeah, they found the cheap forest birds. They conveniently already had the rodent as well, which is very nice. They could just play that. And yeah, you know, now they've got a bit of food access, of course, the Cooper's Hawk power, maybe getting some points as well. But more importantly, I think just you get that first forest bird. You know, they're seeing all these cards. They're not all going to be great cards, so at least some of those, they can start thinking about discarding those, getting extra food, and yeah, getting some of these birds down. So 1 point to consider for me in this early game was that first end of roll goal filled columns. I really don't like seeing that, especially in this kind of scenario where I know I've got Franklin's Goal, so there's no chance I'm going to be looking to play wetland birds. It's a bit of a waste, I think, in that first round. But Tay has a very realistic chance, I think, of being able to meet this filled column. So I did see there was the turtle dove in the tray they grabbed earlier, so that could go in the grasslands. But equally, they have just been taking cards quite a lot in this early game. So there's every prospect, I think, of them being able to find something to go in the grasslands. And indeed, they have found a grassland bird. It's the Western Meadowlark. So that was not a bird I wanted to see. Obviously, power being everyone gets to lay an egg on a ground nest space, and then Tay will get to lay another one. But I don't have any ground nest spaces. This Franklin's Goal will help once I can get that down in the second round. But yeah, for now at least, I'm going to mess out on some eggs. And even if I do get some extra eggs from that, egg space is pretty tight for me right now. Not a whole lot of eggs going on right now, but once the Franklin's Goal goes down, I'm going to be laying so many eggs. And yeah, filling up, I think, these spaces pretty quickly. So I'm going to need to be mindful of that. But yeah, as I said, there we go. We're missing out on one already. But yeah, we're going to have so much food. So one final turn here. We're going to take food. And we just got so much of it. So I quite like this start when you've got Gull. Just get a bunch of food. You're kind of preempting that you're going to find some birds that you want to play. And just sort of get that food in advance. So that when you pick up those birds, you can just play them straight away. And you'll see I've kind of got pretty much one of every food here. An extra worm and an extra seed. So yeah, I think I'm kind of set up pretty well here. So yeah, there we go. We do lose that end of round goal, as I mentioned. We'll give Tay those 4 points, but we know we can be getting this Franklin's Goal down as soon as possible. But yeah, you see there Tay as well. Did play another wetland bird, so he's going full dig here. Potentially doing a bit of digging to find that raven or that other strong bird. But I mean, it's a good setup. You know, as I've been saying myself with this Franklin's Skull, get that down, start drawing some cards with that power. I think Tay's doing something similar here. Get the wetlands set up and start drawing some cards. And the more cards you can see, the more likely you are, I think, to find something good and find something that you want to play. But yeah, in terms of our position, as I said, we're gonna look to get this goal down. I've kind of got my eye on that great tit in the tray. I think that's going to be a good option here. As I said, egg space is definitely at a premium here. We don't really have that much going on. Of course, we're going to be laying lots of eggs, and even that blackbird is going to be making some more eggs for us. And we do have the Meadowlark to consider that Tay is going to be using. So, yeah, we might have to be a little bit careful when it comes to egg space. So, Tay didn't take the great tit, so I'm potentially going to look at that for next turn. But for now, of course, it's time to get this Franklin's Goal down. And yeah, plenty of food in my supply. So as I was saying, you know, that first round, just draw a bunch of foods and kind of get it before you need to be playing birds. And if I do pick up that great tit, I've already got the food for it, so very nice. I can pretty easily get that down. And yeah, the power as well is going to help with a bit more food access. So yeah, just checking this end of round goal as well. Cards in hand. I think that's going to be a difficult one to compete with. Of course, the Franklin's Goal is getting some cards to me, but I'm going to be tucking some of them with a blackbird. I mean, hopefully I'm going to be finding some playable cards, so I'm planning on getting those down rather than keeping them in my hands. And of course, Tay, with a very strong wetlands there, drawing more cards than I'm getting with this goal. Definitely, I think they're going to be in a strong position to compete for that one. But yeah, as I said, hopefully we can just find some good birds and I don't have to worry too much about the end of round goal. So we're going to lay eggs. We're going to start using this Franklin's Goal. And yeah, we'll draw one from the top, Clark's Grebe. Not super interested in that. Definitely going to go for the great tit though, as I said. And yeah, this is the thing with the gold blackbird combination is you're going to draw cards and they're not always going to be good cards. So actually having a way of turning those into points, obviously the blackbird, you get a tuck, which is a point, and you get an egg, which is a point. So you're kind of turning those excess cards into 2 points. Very, very nice way of just sort of recycling that almost into something useful. So yeah, Tay's going for food. Cooper's Hawk doing its job. We are going to lay eggs again once more here. We do have the space, so we're just going to see what we can get. We get the Condor and we get the Mute Swan. So ordinarily, I'd love seeing that Mute Swan here. Not the birds, considering we've got a gold blackbird. But yeah, part of me was thinking, I wish I hadn't drawn that. But the other part of me was thinking, I'm glad I drew that because it meant that Tay didn't draw it, because that would have been a lovely bird in their wetlands. Just cycle through the deck that a little bit quicker, get some points. You know, they already had 2 birds down there, so they'd have been able to get 3 points a turn from running that, which would have been not great for me to see. But yeah, we can get the great tit down now, as I said. Just generate a bit of egg space, which is definitely what we want to see. So yeah, Tay's gone for food a couple of times. Cooper's Hawk getting those hunts. They do have a little bit of food here, so kind of just trying to work out, I guess, what it is they're going to play. Is it going to be another forest bird? Is it going to be some grassland birds? We'll just kind of have to wait and see on that. But there we go, European Bee Eater. I would have loved that bird. Really, really good power, I think, in the grasslands. Getting some extra foods. And certainly when I'm seeing lots of cards, food is what I want to be getting hold of. So, and we're going to start laying eggs again. Now we've got space on this great tit. And yeah, not really getting any engine birds here. So we get a starling, which could be an option. It's got egg space. But I'm not really sure how much extra food I'm going to have to use that power. On the other hand, we do have this nuthatch, which could be a good addition to this forest. Of course, draw another bonus card and get an extra food. And the condor as well. You know, I don't really like the condor, but if I'm running this kind of low food setup where I'm not really planning on using the forest too much, playing that bird for free, you know, meets my existing bonus card, might help potentially for that last end of round goal if I'm not finding wetland birds. But it's going to give another bonus card itself, so I can always kind of gamble on that and see what I can find. But yeah, really, I think with this goal, I'm just looking for engine birds. I'm looking for something to put in this grasslands. You know, as I said, that Bee Eater would have been amazing, but otherwise I'm just looking for a crow. I'm looking for a phoebe or a hummingbird, even just a towhee. anything really, preferably that's going to get some food. But even just like, I don't know, a Swainson's Hawk or something, some kind of point generating hunting power, you know, Barn Swallow for a point generating sucking power would be even better. But yeah, I think at this stage of the game, I'm not really fussy. I'll take anything. I'll take any kind of grass and bird that is going to help just extend this out and get some more point generation going on. So that is why we're going to keep digging here. We're going to lay eggs again. We're going to keep drawing cards. And we get a bush tit, which, yeah, is obviously a point generating grass and bird. But I'm not really generating enough cards to be using that and the blackbird. So potentially is going to be an issue. I will keep hold of it though, purely because that redback shrike is not going to get played. But yeah, I will have to think about the bush tit. The egg space could definitely come in handy, but it's only 2 points. And as I said, probably not going to get great use out of that power. I might sooner discard that just to try and get some of these other birds down quickly, because as you see, we're running out of egg space, and that's going to be sped up even more through the use of this Western Meadowlark. So yeah, we are going to have to be careful. We're going to have to be playing birds relatively quickly. I could only lay eggs 4 times this round before I ran out of egg space. So yeah, we were hoping for a seed there on the reroll to play the nuthatch and not to be, sadly. But never mind, we'll just force it down. Anyway, as I said, we do lose that end of round goal. Not a whole lot I think we could have done in that position. And yeah, we go here into this third round, and the tray again is not looking super exciting. Yeah, kind of nothing there really to help build an engine other than the sparrow. But as I said, egg space is a problem, so more eggs is not really what I want. So we'll play the Corsican nuthatch for now. We're going to draw the falconer, which ordinarily is a really good bonus card, but here I don't have any hunting powers, so definitely a tricky one to kind of work with. And yeah, when you don't have any in the hand and you've not seen any and there's none in the tray, you're kind of just hoping beyond hope that you're going to find some. So I do have a couple of rodents. As I said, a Swainson's Hawk, a Peregrine Falcon. Those are the kind of birds I would be looking for to try and play and just get a bit more point generation going, because, you know, Tay's got a decent setup going. As I said, good card access. They now have decent grasses going with the Bee Eater getting some worms, Meadowlark getting a bunch of eggs, and they do have a lot of egg space themselves. So I think both of us here are really just kind of hoping to try and get that additional grass and bird to kind of add to the engine. And of course, with this end of round goal being brown powers, you want to be getting those brown powers down and trying to extend your grasslands out, as Tay has done here. So house run into Waxwing, very, very nice for them. And yeah, they're going to use all those extra cards, tuck behind the Waxwing, and now they have 2 foods in their grasslands. They have a bunch of egg space thanks to Wren. So I'm definitely feeling a bit worried here. You know, I've got a really nice setup myself, but Franklin's Gull's not really giving me the good engine birds that I'm looking for, which is definitely a struggle. So yeah, you see, I kind of grabbed the flicker there. That was more out of desperation than anything, because I have no egg space. So I've got this Condor, but that only gives 1 egg space. At the very least, this flicker, you know, I play it, it give me 1 worm back. It helps my bird band a bonus card, and it just gives egg space. But it's really not the kind of bird I'd be hoping to look to in this third round. Again, not a brown power, so it's not going to help for the end of round goal. It's only really there to get a bit of egg space. So yeah, it's a bit of a desperation play. Like I said, definitely starting to feel worried and feel nervous about this game. It was such a strong start that I felt so relaxed in that first round. Just easy, play Sparrow, play Kingbird, start getting a bunch of foods, get myself set up with the goal. But yeah, that Kingbird not really seeing many activations. Of course, with the Bee Eater and the Waxwing, Tay's able to generate those 2 foods in his grasslands. And I say it time and time again, I think once you can get to 2 food generation in the grasslands, you don't have to worry about building up your forest. So I think it might just be a couple of big point plays at the end. But yeah, for now, they're not going to be playing birds there. So my Kingbirds are not going to see any usage. So they're going to do a bit more digging, of course, as I said. Now they've got that Waxwing, they can freely draw cards and turn some of those into extra points. And of course, some extra food. But we're kind of in a bit of a hole here. I can't lay eggs because I don't have space. I'd be losing out on points. I don't really want to play this flicker, but like I said, I kind of don't feel like I have any other option. I've got to play it here. Only get the one, but worm back, so it's a bit of a disappointing flicker. But it does create a bit of egg space, so it's going to give me a couple of turns here to lay eggs. So, I lay 3 eggs, I discard 1 with the gold, but then I get 1 back with the blackbird. So, generate 3 a turn. I've got 6 egg spaces, so yeah, lay eggs twice. And really, I'm still just hoping. Even now, it's not too late to find that hummingbird or that crow or that towhee or that phoebe to just finish off this grasslands. Get that 4th bird down, get a bit more food going on there as well. But yeah, with Tay continually laying eggs, we are definitely filling up from the Meadowlark, which is a problem. So we're going to keep going for cards. Downy Woodpecker would have been lovely earlier, but my forest doesn't have space for it anymore, so it's a bit of a shame. So we're just going to draw off the deck again. And we get the Horned Lark, which is definitely not the bird I wanted to see in this position when Tay's basically already filled his grasslands. I'm not really going to get too much usage out of that. The only really saving grace for it is the egg space, so it's kind of a bit like the flicker. Might just have to be a desperation play here, just to make a bit of egg space. Obviously the ground nest is going to help, certainly, with the Meadowlark, which I am expecting Tay to just kind of spam as we go into this late game. They got plenty of space. I'm sure they found some birds to play to get a bit more egg space. And of course, they're still getting food. There's bee eater still working. They're getting the worms every time. Waxwing is, of course, always going to get them the free cherry. But yeah, we don't have space now. A couple of turns from the Meadowlark, we don't have space. So we'll play the Condor. We get a choice of 2 pretty poor bonus cards. Bird Feeder. It's never a good position when you feel like you have to take Bird Feeder because you've qualified for it. But yeah, it is at least 3 points, and who knows? Horned Lark and a couple of others, maybe I'll be able to squeak out the 7 points, but I don't think it's ever a good game when you're meeting Bird Feeder, because that's a pretty poor bonus card. So yeah, Tay, I'm just looking at his board and kind of feeling very envious here of what could have been. If I'd got my hands on that bee eater, even that waxwing, I'd have taken that. Obviously I did get the bush tit earlier, but that food I think would have been more valuable than some of those extra eggs. But yeah, it's just a case of Tay getting the grassland birds to add into his own engine, and me not really finding them at this stage. So yeah, of course, going into this last round, it's really going to be crunch time, and it's really going to be those last few turns, I think, to pull off those desperation draws. And I'm not in a position where skipping the gull is going to help me. I think sometimes when you get into that late game, you start thinking, okay, I've got enough birds to play, I've got a clear plan, I can get this food, play this bird, lay a couple of eggs. I don't really have that. And I also don't really have the egg space to be affording to skip the goal. So I'm definitely going to keep using that. And like I said, really just kind of hope beyond hope that I can find that last play to kind of save me in this game, because it does feel like it's slipping away. I'm doing kind of everything I can, I feel. Just obviously drawing as much as I can with this goal. But the deck not really giving me the cards I want to be seeing to play. But yeah, sometimes that happens in Wingspan. You just got to work within the limitations of whatever it is you're given. And in this case, the limitations are this Horned Lark. But like I said, it's got some egg space. It's probably not going to get any activations, but yeah, still 5 points. Does hit the Bird Feeder bonus card, and at least get some extra points there. So on to our next turn here, and there we go. Just to rub salt into the wounds, Tay finds the Common Nightingale, which, as I said, fits into that kind of Phoebe Crow category of birds I would have loved to see going into my grasslands. But what could you do? What can you do? Hopefully he's going to use it and give me some free food, but I'd be very, very surprised. So yeah, I'm kind of just weighing up my options here. And really the only option I could conclude to do was to play this Horned Lark. So as I said, a bit of egg space, which I desperately need. And yeah, it does hit the Bird Feeder. So the points, to be fair, are looking pretty respectable, considering that I think this game has not gone well at all from my perspective. To basically be looking at 60 points going into the final round, I think you take that. And really, I think, to be honest, it probably just shows the power of the Franklin's Goal, that even when you're not drawing great cards, when you've got something like a blackbird next to it, you're always going to be turning these into points. And of course, we do have plenty of free eggs coming through from the Meadowlark, which are definitely helping to kind of push that score up a little bit. But yeah, I have to say, in terms of the comparison between the two engines here, it's not even close. If I could trade engines with Tay here, I'd do it in a heartbeat, because he's got some very good birds in his grasslands. So it's another end of round win, which I'm definitely not feeling good about. I say it all the time in these gameplay videos. If you lose all the end of round goals, you're always in trouble. You give your opponent 22 points and you only get 10, and even in this position, I'd only be getting 9 because I missed that first one. So yeah, gonna have to watch out carefully on that one. But coming into this final round goal, we finally have some good birds in the trade. We've got a blue throat. I would have given an arm and a leg for that blue throat in round 2. It's exactly the kind of bird I was looking for. Big egg space, big points, hits the bonus cards, gets some food. Little bit too late now, I think, to be coming up, but it could still work. It could still work if we're going to look at the bird feeder bonus card, if we're going to look at the bird bander bonus card, and also this end of round goal. We need a lot of space in the wetlands, so definitely something to consider. And also that barn owl. Barn owl hits the falconer, hits the bird bander, and likewise has egg space. And I've already got one rodent, so definitely something that I might look to pick up if it is still there on my next turn. And indeed, it is still there on our next turn as we come through here to our first turn of the final round. We get a free egg. We're going to lay eggs ourselves, and as I said, I'm definitely looking at those birds in the trait. I think barn owl and blue throat are both good options. I'm kind of toying here with the idea of going from the deck, and I get immediately burned for doing so and getting the yellow-breasted chat. So yeah, I don't know what it was about this game. I just feel like every card I was drawing from the deck was just not a card I wanted to see, not the right time or place. Only really birds from the tray were kind of ones I was looking for. And even there, if I hadn't drawn the blue threat, if I'd gone for the deck again, Grey Heron would have come up. So there you go. That's kind of Wingspan sometimes having a bit of a laugh with you. But yeah, definitely trying to work out here what Tay's end game is going to be, because they're very full. They're very full on eggs. They did lay eggs that last turn rather than draw cards. So I'm kind of assuming they've got enough cards in hand to be looking to play. And some of those are going to be forest birds. So Kingbird is going to get an activation. But I kind of wish it didn't, because Prothonotary Warbler, big point birds. Again, I would have happily taken that over any of the other birds I was drawing, but sadly not to be in this game. So we're going to go for food ourselves here. Definitely had to be done if we're going to look at playing some of these birds. So we do get the food there for the blue throat, and then on the reroll with the great tit, we get another rodent. So barn owl could be an option. Barn owl could definitely be an option. But yeah, 3 turns left for us both. I'm kind of thinking for Tay, he's going to lay eggs, he's going to play another bird, and then he's going to lay eggs. I don't think I have the space to lay eggs twice, so blue throat, as I said, is going to go down. And then I'm going to lay eggs. And then I'm going to see, because barn owl could be an option. But also, just anything I find from the deck. One last chance, you know. This would be the perfect time for Benelli's Eagle to come up. In my time of need, I think. But yeah, we'll kind of just have to wait and see. But definitely, as I said, blue throat, finally, to be able to get a bird like that. And bird bander, I think, should be done once I play that. But equally, bird feeder, very, very close on that. So a Hail Mary attempt to find that one last bird feeder bonus card bird. That could definitely be an option here as we kind of go into these last few turns. But there we go. It's another forest play from Tay, and it is a Baltimore Oriole. So yeah, that was the absolute perfect bird, I think, in that position for Tay. Big points, eats the cherries and the worms that he's getting from the grass and birds. And again, I would have loved that bird. I would have happily taken that at any point during this game, but not to be, sadly. So yeah, feeling very envious. And of course, Tay in a very strong position here to get 6 eggs in each habitat for this end of round goal. And we are definitely not looking quite so good on that front. Only just being able to get the blue throat down now. We can't quite get enough eggs in there. We can only lay 4. So we would need Tay to use the Meadowlark, but he doesn't have space. Just looking at his board there previously, he doesn't have space to use it, so I'm fully expecting that he's going to skip this, and that is definitely going to hurt us here. But as I said, at least get that blue threat down now. Hitting the bonus cards gives us somewhere to lay eggs into, to maybe help for this end of round goal, but just at the very least, you know, score the points, because we need points if we're going to try and be competitive in this game, because the points are not looking super great. But there we go, Tay has laid eggs, and you'll see not to use the Meadowlark, so we miss out on that one. Definitely a shame. But yeah, Tay paying attention to the end of round goal position there, I think. So, one final chance on the Franklin's goal. Do we go for the Barn Owl? Do we gamble from the deck? I was kind of doing the maths and thinking Barn Owl, I don't need it for Bird Bander. It would kind of help for Falconer. We're going to gamble and we're going to get the Greater Prairie Chicken. So that is the bird feeder. Potentially done. 8 birds for 7 points. And the Prairie Chicken gets another bonus card itself. So I was kind of working out here. Right, last turn, what could I do? How many points is the Prairie Chicken? Well, I get 5 points. I lose 2 eggs, so it's 3 points. I get another 4 from the bird feeder, so it's 7 points. And I get a bonus card, so 7 points and a bonus card. Now, the alternative would be to lay eggs. Of course, I'm assuming here that Tay's going to lay eggs and win the end of round goal. But if I lay eggs, I'll get 3 eggs myself, plus a tuck on the Blackbird, so that's 4 points. And another 3 tying the end of round goal. So that is 7 points. There we go, Tay laying eggs. But we already said that the chicken was 7 points and a bonus card. So the percentage play here is to go for that Prairie Chicken and see what we can get from that bonus card as that last Hail Mary. You know, I'm just looking for anything really. Omnivore would be great, but something to just score a few more extra points. Potentially get us competitive in this game. It is Backyard Birder, which we also qualify for. So, yeah, what a game. Maxing out Bird Feeder and hitting Backyard Birder. That just kind of sums up the game. But we lose all the end of round goals, which is never good. And we go into the scores. So, yeah, I was not feeling good. I was not feeling at all good going into the scores here. But then Tay scores 0 on the bonus cards and we get 17. So, little glimmer of hope, but then immediately shattered by those end of round goals. So, we are pretty neck and neck here. I know that we both have a lot of eggs. And I know we both have a few tuck cards as well. But it is sadly not enough for us in the end. And it is a loss there, 101 to 98. And yeah, as I kind of said through the commentary, that was just such a frustrating game to play through, because the starts were kind of polar opposite. Tay had a really terrible start. Maganza, nothing else to worth keeping. Just play the Maganza, draw some cards. And we had an amazing start with the Sparrow, the Kingbird, the Blackbird, and the Gull. Very clear to get that all set up. And then we just didn't find anything. Just found absolute garbage all game. And Tay was able to find some lovely grass and birds to add to his own setup. But that's Wingspan. You know, that was kind of the polar opposite of the previous game. We had an awful start and kind of lucked our way into some good birds. And then here we had an amazing start and just didn't have the deck luck at all drawing the birds there in that game. But that's how it goes sometimes. We lose that game. But we're not out of the series yet. We do still have one more game to go at the very least. But yeah, 2-1 down. We need to be winning that game. And of course, that final deciding game 5 potentially to be in with a chance going through to the next round. So there we go. Thank you everyone for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed that video. If you want to stay up to date with the future parts in this series, and of course more gameplay and strategy content, then please do consider subscribing.